9/11 happened our senior year. We're sitting in class. Some guy goes running down the hall saying, turn on TVs, turn on TVs, turn on TVs. So he turns on the TV and the first one it hit and we're just kind of like, man, that's a horrible accident.
Right.
Second one hits and we're like, nobody really knows what's going on yet. Major Treves is a very smart guy. Closes the door, turns the TV down a little bit. He says, so let me tell you guys something. What's happening right now is about to change all of your lives.
Hey folks, I'm Brooks Derrick, and this is A Lawyer, His Friends, and Food. A show about local business owners, their journeys, and the thing that brings people closer together, food. On today's episode, we sit down at Gather Greenville with Charles Russ, financial advisor and entrepreneur, while chowing down on some delicious grub from Pasta Addict. Jennifer and Anthony Pepe opened Pasta Addict in the Gather Greenville space after cultivating a local Instagram following, from Anthony's home cooking and Jennifer's photography skills. And as you will see during our interview with Charles Russ, the pasta not only looks good, but is also absolutely delicious. So how did Charles Russ's humble beginnings propel him to West Point, Germany, and a career as a financial advisor? Well, let's find out. This is where awkwardness happens when we're trying to eat and talk. So I'm gonna cut this thing out.
I'm smooth with it. Look, man, if you don't mind, I like to do a little blessing. Is that cool?
Oh, that's perfect with me. Hell yeah.
Yeah, all right.
That's probably one way to say that at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and knock this out, man. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together for conversation and hopefully say some things that will help some people out there and also to learn about one another and hopefully make a new friend for the future. In your name I pray. Thank you for all the blessings. Amen.
Amen, yeah. All right.
So you want to split these up, man, so we can try both of them?
Yeah, I believe that should be the plan,
Let's
right?
see how this goes.
I'm probably gonna
that one's gonna be tough.
Probably gonna spill it all over myself.
You want to cut it? You want to like knife it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, man, go ahead and knife it.
I like your guidance here.
It's not really guidance. See, mine is already partitioned. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. Mine, I get the easy one.
Let's see here. I used to wear a white T-shirt all the time.
Yeah,
my wife would say, "Why do you do this? Why is this your outfit of choice?"
Let me guess. Was she washing those said T-shirts?
Yes, and I usually couldn't keep one clean more than like two or three.
I just ruined my favorite white T-shirt on accident. Two weekends ago. I was real sad. My girl was like, "Can't you just get another one?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not that one.
The same. It's not the
It's
same.
not the same. It's not that shirt."
All right, player.
Good exchange.
Oh, but you were very efficient with yours, huh?
Well, mine was already like broken up. I had the easy route.
Let's have a bite here first, and then we can start talking with our mouth full.
Yeah. Delicious.
Oh my God.
Well, we saw it in the back, man. I knew it doesn't look like me making spaghetti. I shouldn't even call it spaghetti. It's pasta.
Man. You can taste all that stuff he was talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was
The
real
brightness
cool.
of the tomatoes, the basil.
I thought it was cool how he talked about did he say degrade the ingredients?
Yes.
Like how you put them on the end?
That's putting the fresh stuff on at the end, as well as the olive oil.
Yeah, it's good. Real good.
We try to keep it fresh, whatever's in season. We try to balance it between doing what we can do here, on obviously the limitations around what we have here as far as space, and then kind of catering to the crowd out there. So it changes, whatever the season may be, whatever's on sale, whatever's around. Especially now, it's not easy to get your hands on. Eggs, cream. We're seeing, it's hard to get your hands on that stuff. So, but hopefully we'll bounce back. But right now, it's kind of like a big episode of Chopped. We just kind of, whatever's there, we throw. It's not as hard. It's normal stuff. But, and we try to make it taste good without wasting too much. So this is just a traditional pesto. This is super simple. This is going to just be not too much heat, a little salt, 1 thing of butter, and we'll just let that kind of melt with a little pasta water. Melt the butter and get a little bit of an emulsion in there. And it starts getting really cloudy. That's a key for things like carbonara and cacio e pepe, stuff like that.
Do this one
right in here now. This is fresh torn basil.
Not me. Not me.
People are always surprised at how much olive oil, but it's a good amount.
I'm sure we'll get critiqued on how we're eating this, right? So where are you from?
I was born in Indianapolis. But we moved to Atlanta for 1 year when I was 4, I believe, and then, so I guess a year, maybe a year and a half, and then we moved here when I was 6. I grew up here.
Yep.
So,
What brought your family here?
well, my grandmother's job moved.
Okay.
Job moves, family goes.
That's it. What did you raised by grandmom and granddad?
Yeah.
Or just grandma and granddad?
Grandma and granddad's.
What they do for a living?
My grandmother worked for this. Okay, you remember back in the day, in the Sunday paper, that little thing used to come and you could pick 12 tapes for $1.
Mm-hmm.
She worked for RCA. It was BMG. It was RCA, then BMG bought them out. So she worked for that company. So I always had all the newest music.
I probably still owe them money, I bet.
Man, that $1 a month add up on you. But yeah, that starter deal.
Cheers.
Oh, for sure.
I broke a rule. I drank before I cheers you, but still.
Hey, it's
Cheers,
good.
my friend. So, move here. Are you 6? It's about 6 when y'all move here.
Yeah. So I went to school. All my school stuff was
Yep.
here.
What did
from
Granddaddy
here.
do here?
He didn't. So, I believe the story goes he was in a plant that blew up.
Oh.
Now he didn't get hurt, but they had to pay out, and that was back in the days of pensions, which we know are gone now.
Right.
So they had to pay everybody pension after that. So he had his pension, and it wasn't as much, of course, as it would have been, but they just agreed. So they had me and my first cousin, who I call my brother. They had both of us.
Okay.
So they just agreed it would be better for him to be home with us. He was still put, and she worked.
Wow. That is awesome. Did that happen? I mean, not awesome, but awesome in a way to be able to be home with y'all. Did that happen in Indianapolis, or did that happen down
The
here?
plant exploded in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
It was before I think it was before I was born. So
Okay.
I don't know the details of the story,
yeah.
but I know he got a pension
Yep.
from this plant explosion, and they just agreed when they moved. I think he might have even been working when we were in Indianapolis. They just agreed when we moved. She's like, well, we got this much coming in. Somebody needs to take care of these boys, so
Yeah.
let's make it happen.
Wow. So, moved down here, go to school. You would go to Wade Hampton High, is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good
When did
old
you
Wade
finish
Hampton.
there?
98.
98.
I went to the old Wade Hampton
Over on
when it was
Wade Hampton Boulevard or whatever?
yeah, it was all those outdoor buildings.
Near
Yeah.
Red Lobster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's in the same place now, but they rebuilt it.
Ah, okay.
So
okay.
now,
okay,
it didn't look
gotcha.
like the old, like all the schools here.
Right.
So the rumor was, and I looked it up, and I think it's actually true. There's a Wade Hampton in Florida, and the same big company built both schools, but they put the schools in the wrong places. That was the rumor. I'm not sure it was true, but that's interesting because if you looked at it, in the winter it sucked because all of our buildings were separate. So you had to go outside between classes to go to classes. Now in the spring, summer, it was amazing.
Yeah.
You get to hang out outside, lunch, you could walk around, sit outside, all that stuff, versus how schools look here,
Right.
that big closed in. So
Yeah, for sure.
it made sense. I never actually verified it, but I always told it was true.
I like that. I went to Malden High. I finished in 93. I'm just a little bit ahead of you. Not much, though.
Sports guy?
Yeah, I
Basketball?
played soccer. I
Oh,
played
soccer.
basketball also, but
Okay.
I had to quit my junior year because of soccer conflict.
Okay.
I made the varsity team, but had to quit. It was when Kevin Garnett was a junior. So
KG.
I could have been on the team with him if soccer wasn't my problem.
I played soccer in high school too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I played at Wade Hampton. Good old Carlos Osorio was my coach. We won state senior year.
I love that man.
Yeah, you know him?
Oh,
you know
heck
Los?
yeah,
Hey,
man. Heck yeah.
Los is the man.
I played for a guy named Ralston Moore here. He's a Jamaican guy.
Okay.
I played from the time I was like 10 until I finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
And Carlos, I don't think Carlos coached anyone that was my travel team. I don't know if he coached anybody that we actually played against. I think he might have coached like 1 year below us maybe.
Yeah, he was at Cessa the whole time. He's always been at Cessa.
Yeah. This is before that existed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was before CISA or
St.
Cessa.
Giles?
St. Giles, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you play soccer, you play any more sports at Wade Hampton?
Soccer was my secondary sport. I was a wrestler.
Oh, that's right, because your 18-year-olds wrestle, right?
Yeah,
Or
but
they used to wrestle?
They used to wrestle. They're football players. That's more their bag. So yeah, it got me in college, man. So
that was how did you finished Wade Hampton? What's high school like for you? Is it
good,
good,
man.
bad?
I had a good high school
Indifferent?
experience, man.
Yeah, me too.
No,
Some
yeah.
people hate high school. I look back on those years pretty fondly.
Yeah, and things have changed a lot since I've been in high school. You know, improved. I think this area is great. It's growing. If you have a family, especially, it's a great place to be. But definitely a different experience, probably than the kids in high school right now, especially with social media. You know, I knew kids that went to Wade Hampton, maybe a few from Riverside, a few from Eastside, a few from Greer, a few from Greenville. Man, my kids know kids that go to school in Columbia. They know everybody in the whole county. They show up places, people are like, hey, twins, and I'm like, how do you know them? Facebook, this, that, the other.
Wow,
it's a different universe, man.
Yeah, I remember we'd go to me and a couple of buddies would go to the mall to go like, try to meet girls, right? Like, or was Character still open when you were a kid?
Yeah, man.
And we'd go to Characters. You know, they had the team nights on like Sunday night or whatever before the school would be out.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Characters. You'd always have like, make up some dance routines that you and your boys could do together. You practice all semester, I guess, for whenever like.
But when your time to shine.
That's right. That's right. Oh man.
I remember all that stuff.
So you finished Wade Hampton '98.
Yep.
What's your motivation, or what's the trip of saying I'm gonna go to the Army? I'm gonna go to West Point. What's that?
My grandmother telling me that's where I was going.
Oh.
I didn't want to go. She said, no, you're going. So
Okay.
one of the wrestling coaches had reached out to me about applying, and he said, if you apply, you'll get in. I mean, of course, he's done his homework. He knows. And I had a good high school experience. I mean, senior year was all honors classes. I did speech and debate. I did drama, varsity letter, 2 sports, state champ. We actually looked out, state champion both. Wrestling was, of course, me, but soccer, dude, I had 11 dudes. I was the 8th, 9th, or 10th dude on
right.
starting, but I filled the gap. That was a cool story for me too. I learned a lot about teamwork there and about being part of a team.
Yep.
And I definitely credit my soccer experience for that, because I wasn't going to play my senior year. Because after wrestling, I'd already won my state championship. I figured, well, I'm going to wrestle. And I went to a game, and I just felt like, and I was forward, I was a striker, and I just felt like they needed me. Like, they lost 1-0 to Eastside, who then was our rival, and I was just like, I'm not like the superstar, but I would have made a difference in that game.
Right.
And I talked to coach walking off the field that day. I was like, hey, coach. He said, what's up, Russ? I was like, can I come try out on Monday? He said, you don't have to try out. Just come on. Because I had played for him since 7th grade. And yeah, that was a good, cool experience to learn there. But yeah, dude, they talked to me first. So I talked to the wrestling coach. He's like, West Point. I'm like, that's the Army? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no. And I hung up the phone. He called back, and my grandmother answered the phone. And I came in the house, and she was like, oh, you going? I was like, where you want me to go? She's like, oh, no, you going to that school. I was like, wow, all right.
What was the application process like for that? Like,
I had a little different application process. I don't really know how this happens, but you're supposed to get like an appointment, applying to get an appointment. I got mine late. Like, that was another thing. And people always like look at me weird when I tell the story. I'm like, we called about the appointment, like they told us to, and they said, oh, all the appointments have been given out, and I was like,
saved. Praise Jesus.
We went out to eat. I remember because we all used to go eat Chinese at old Chinese buffet. This is back in the day when things used to be.
Yes.
Be the bomb. So we went and ate, and when we came back, there was a message on the answer machine. Oh, man, and it was from the congressman's office. He's like, oh, man, we're sorry. We made a mistake. There is an appointment here for Mr. Russ. And I was like, and then we started doing the physicals, doing all the little physical tests, sending in essays, getting teacher recommendations. So it's just the way it happened. And I have my own theories on how that happens. I'm sure I'm not the only person that happened. They also have quotas. You got to have so many, so many women, so many Hispanics, so many African Americans. And I'm sure at the end of the application process, a lot of times you probably don't have what you have to have, but it's government funding. That's just my opinion on how that works. So you got to find those people, you know. Yeah. So I'm sure I was, and they probably go tell the athletic coaches. They probably tell them, hey, this is what we need. If there's somebody that you want to talk to, let's make it happen. And like I said, that's just totally my speculation on how that happened. You know, so
I'm gonna try this pesto here. That's just phenomenal, interesting turn of events there, right? I mean,
but it was good. It was good for me.
Yes, I just filled out I just did a recommendation for a guy that worked for me for Air Force. So I was like, when I'm reading about you and I saw that, I was like, I wonder how that process went for him and what it was like.
Yeah.
Oh man,
this is tough, man. Luckily, I'm going home after this because this is going to result in a nap. 100%.
A beer and some pasta. This is dynamite too.
Oh yeah.
My wife would just devour this. I've tried to make a pesto like this at home and I nowhere close to this.
No, I mean, well, even the stuff he was talking about is like way above my pay grade as far as you don't do what? So you don't. This isn't out the box. This is not. We're not doing that. Hey, as far as pasta goes, man, I'm a box with jar ragu, and I think I'm, you know, I'm gonna throw some shrimp in it too. I think I did it. That's when he was talking about soup. He was talking about shrimp.
Bam!
Yeah. I said, hey, baby, come here and get some of this. Delicious.
Yes.
And I'm eating this. I feel embarrassed and ashamed that I ever did that.
So, you go off to, go off to college. What's that like? What's the experience? Is it hell up there?
No. I mean,
fun, not fun?
It's not fun. You know, I'm used to being top dog in high school, and now you go up there and you're at the bottom because it's a military structure. So you go up each year. You know, you got to go through. Only got 2 weeks of summer, and you got to report and do your basic training, which is run by other cadets. You know, you just got to especially your freshman year, you just got to kind of get used to it. You know, but it doesn't bother me. Like somebody's yelling in your face, and I'm just kind of like, okay. Other people cried. Everybody handles it different.
I'd have cried.
You know? Yeah. Nah, I don't think so. I mean, you gotta learn to play the game, but as you get older and you look back on stuff, everything there was a process. Like there's an actual method. It's called the Thayer method of why they do things the way they do. Operating under stress, being able to handle multiple. There's a reason it's like that.
Right.
And at the time it seemed stupid, but as I get older, it makes more sense. Right. You know, they're preparing you for potentially going to combat. Yeah.
You can't analyze that in the moment though, right? Like when you're getting yelled at, you're like.
No, in my head, I'm like, I wish this dude would got in my face. If we were in high school, I'd punch him. Like, that's like what goes through my head. I'm like, you wouldn't be talking to me like this if we were out in the street, but now you're just like going ham on me, you know. But that's me. That was my thought process, which probably wasn't even the best thought process at the time.
Right.
So that's why it was good for me. Definitely.
Did you feel yourself like, I guess, growing up a little bit through that process, or is that you still just like, are you aware of what's kind of going on in your brain at that moment in time, or are you just kind of like just trying to get through it all?
No, man, and I totally had that. I'm so hard on my 18-year-olds. Not hard on them, like, but the way I think about what the things they do and the decisions they make. But then it's so hard for me to revisit that point in my life at that age. It's so hard for me even to remember how I thought. Like, what was I thinking about when I did this type of stuff? You know, you want them to think about their future, you want them to do this, other, but were you doing that?
No. Our memories don't work that way.
No.
We can't, you can usually sometimes with a little bit of help with a friend or something, or a token or a tote or something, find the right file cabinet.
Yeah.
But you can't actually get into the index cards in that file cabinet and figure out what the hell you were thinking.
You know, so at that point in time, I was just like, well, I'm just here. You know, it's college. I know it was always the process. You go to school, you go to college. I always said I was going to be an engineer because it sounded great and they made money and I was good at math. So logical process.
So when you finish there, I'm completely naive to how this works, but how do you get to obviously you don't get to pick where you end up. I know you ended up in Germany, but what's that process like when you're finishing?
Okay.
How do you figure out what you're...
So it's a mandatory 5-year commitment in the
Right.
military. And the process is, there's a class rank. And I've forgotten the percentages. I think it's like 50% academic, 30%, you actually have a military grade because you have to do military stuff and you get
Right.
graded. So it's 50, 30, and then there's 20%, there's a physical grade because there's physical requirements, whatever. And they rank everybody in the class.
Okay.
So from that, you get to pick your branches and your desired, and then after you pick branches, you pick your locations. So you pick your branch, but if there's only 10 slots left, if there's 10 slots and they're gone when it gets to you, okay, then you get your number 2. If
Right.
your number 2 is gone, you get your number 3, even for branches. Because there's only so many slots per branch.
Right.
And then you do the same thing, you pick your destinations. There's only so many slots per destination. So you might want to go to Hawaii, but there's one slot, and the first guy took Hawaii. Okay, so that's out.
Number 1 guy got Hawaii.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Germany, I lucked out and got Germany, man. It was a good time.
Yep.
And guys pick for different reasons. I would say my senior year, I was still in party mode, if you would.
Yep.
My brain hadn't clicked yet. There was a lot of guys who wanted to be there from day one. They knew they were career military, so they were trying to find a place that'll be best for their military career.
Okay.
You know, my brain, like I said, my brain wasn't there yet. I was like, what seems like it'd be the most fun? So I picked Germany, and I lucked out, and I got Germany.
Wow. What's that? You go to Germany. What? When you first get there, what's that like? How's that?
Pretty interesting because everybody, didn't matter where you went knowing you were probably going to deploy. So
Yeah.
9/11 happened.
What year is that?
9/11 happened our senior year. We're sitting in class. Some guy goes running down the hall saying, "Turn on TVs, turn on TVs, turn on TVs." So he turns on the TV, and the first one it hit, and we're just kind of like, "Man, that's a horrible accident."
Right.
Second one hits, and we're like, you know, nobody really knows what's going on yet. Major Treves is a very smart guy. Closes the door, turns the TV down a little bit. He says, "So, let me tell you guys something. What's happening right now is about to change all of your lives." And he was 100% right. And they announced at lunch, you know, because we all eat, everybody eats together at lunch. They announced that it was an act of terrorism, and everybody's kind of like freaking out. You know, dudes were angry. You know, we had a lot of people who have military backgrounds. Their parents work at the Pentagon. Their parents working, so you know, people are freaking out at that point. You know, and then you see things start to happen, like as we went on, because they started kind of changing assignments. Schools.
Did you have your assignment then?
Yeah,
Did you know
we
you're
knew
going to
where
Germany?
we were supposed
you know
to
you're
go.
going?
We knew, but then like some people got schools canceled, like schools that you would go to before you went to your unit. So some of the guys were getting stuff canceled. Go to directly your unit, and it just, you know, it starts to put that writing on the wall that, oh, you going. So, you know.
Oh wow, that changes. A few days before that, you got guys thinking about, well, you know, I'm going to go here. I'm going to be a career military guy. I got this plan, and all of a sudden, you still got those same kind of goals, but everything has changed now. You know, you're going to be.
Yeah, I was living
not
under
only active duty. You're going.
Yeah, I was living under the auspice that there would never be another big war.
Right.
You know, back in the 80s, it was a Cold War in Russia, but that fell apart. They split up. I was like, man, who's going to fight the U.S.? Nobody's fighting us. Well,
Yeah.
and that happened. So, you know, and it's part of life. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. And because once you walk into class after 12 o'clock on the first day of your junior year, you're locked in. If you quit, you have to go into the Army and serve 4 years as a specialist versus finishing.
So that's your first semester junior. At the end of your first semester junior year, you're locked.
First day.
First day you're locked.
12 o'clock.
You don't have like a 30-day grace period. Or like, I'm gonna drop all my classes and get the hell out of here.
And you got a 2-year grace period.
That's right. That's true.
You got a 2-year grace period.
It's the ad drop period. You know.
Yeah. You got a 2-year grace period to figure it out. And then that senior year, I mean, you see guys standing outside the classroom that day, like, I don't know if I'm going in. You see it.
Ooh.
You know, at that point I was like, man, I'm gonna finish.
Yeah.
I went in class and
So you go over to Germany. Are you prepared for the difference? Or is there a dramatic difference once you're active duty versus in school? Are you prepared? I mean, I'm sure there is, but are you prepared for that? that first day?
I felt like I was.
Yep.
I mean, and you always ongoing learning, constant learning. I'm not a nervous guy.
Right.
So, I was an adult at that point. I was 21. I felt like I could handle it. I'm not a nervous guy. Like,
Yeah.
It just didn't worry me. I mean, look, it's just like everything. One thing, it's like, I remember I went to mechanized leaders course. That's where you learn how to work on a Bradley and do stuff. I remember the first time I sat in it, I was like, I gotta learn how to operate this thing. Like, I can't do that, but
Right.
a little bit of time, you learn. And after that experiences like that, you just feel like, yeah, I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be confusing for a little bit, but
Right.
learn a little bit today. You're gonna survive. You'll learn a little bit the next day. You'll be all right. You learn a little bit the next day. You'll be okay. You learn a little bit the next day. You'll be okay. And then eventually, you're like things that you thought were difficult. It's just about preparation and learning and constantly taking in new ways to improve, getting better at doing what you're supposed to be doing.
So when you do two tours? Is that what you do? 2 tours?
Yeah, I did 1 tour in Iraq. And I had like 2 weeks out. You get weird deployments. You do Italy deployments. Like you gotta be, and they're called deployments, but they're not really deployments.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Greece. We did a lot of stuff, but it's amazing what you're always preparing for. You're always preparing for something to happen. And there's people echelons above you that know things that you will never know.
Yeah.
That make those decisions on, we need to send this group over here because if X, Y, and Z happens, they're gonna have to go over there and be ready. And that's just stuff that you see. You get your little secret security clearance and get the, get privy to a little bit more.
Right.
I had an interesting last job in the military I took, working missile defense. But then missile defense is a big deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Talking about missiles like flying over the water defense and that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
It's like thought process is above reality. Like the first time you walk in there, you're like, wait, what is this? What am I looking at? So how does this work? And and I'm just gotta figure it out.
So when let's see here, you sign up for 2 more years. You do 5
I did
and
2
2.
more. So I was
How does
getting
that
out.
work? How does that?
Okay, so you can get out at 5. I was on my way out. I had figured out I wanted to be a financial advisor, and they offered me this job because they needed an air defense officer for a specific job.
Okay.
And it was in another city in Germany. And I said, well, I want to start my business, blah, blah, blah. So I came back to him and I said, look, because you're not supposed to have another job when you're in the military. I said, if you'll let me moonlight, work after hours as a financial advisor, I'll do it. I got a letter signed that I could do it. Cool. And that was actually kind of my little, so every conversation I had with officers that were over my level, they'd be like, have you done command yet? You look like you're pretty sharp. You've been in command. I'm like, no, I'm going to get out. Well, where are you getting out? What are you going to do? You need to stay in. I'm like, well, I actually already have my own business as a financial advisor. I got approved to do it, blah, blah, blah. Really? You want to look at my stuff? And those guys are still clients to this day, a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you figure that out? Like how did you start that financial planning business? Like what was
so I knew I wanted to get out, and I had a financial advisor. And he came over for a meeting in the evening. He came to my house, and I was day trading because what I hadn't done is I hadn't saved enough. I didn't have enough money for me to be comfortable. And I wanted a specific amount of money before I stepped out of the military. And I was in there day trading. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, man, give me 20 minutes. I'll be done. And so I was over there messing with it. And
was your first meeting with him?
No, he had been my advisor for a few years.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay, so you were giving him money.
Yeah.
And then you had a little side money that you were day trading, trying to catch the right.
Trying to catch up. And honestly, it wasn't anything I wanted to do long term. I wanted to get enough money because it's volatile. You could lose it all. I wanted to get enough money so I was comfortable leaving the military.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I was also about to apply for a job with this company called SAP. It's a German company.
Okay.
But they needed a native English speaker. So, so I was about to apply for that, and he saw me. He's like, "You ever thought about being a financial advisor?" And I was like, "No, but that sounds like something I'd like." And we just started that process.
Yep.
A good buddy of mine still to this day.
This is the guy, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael
Manarino.
Yeah.
Yeah, still great friends to this day.
Okay.
He's down in Florida, both still advising.
How did you meet that guy? Did he cold call you, or
No,
how did
he
that?
was at so there's this big company called First Command that really works with military.
Okay.
But their model, everybody's model is different. Their model is wherever you go, because they have people near all the military bases, wherever you go, that's your advisor. So, but every time you move, you get a different advisor, which is not an attractive
Could be
model.
good or bad,
Yeah,
right?
it's not an attractive model to me.
No.
'Cause like I said, I keep all my military guys, dude, Zoom, you know, and they were doing, actually, it wasn't Zoom, but they've had that technology like Skype and stuff out for
Long time.
a long time. So as long as, you know, they trust you. I know your story, I know your history, I know your fears, your wants.
Yeah.
You know, so I want to keep, when you're my guy, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we stay together and we make it work. So, but I met him through First Command. So when I went to Germany, he became my advisor. And he was kind of right up my alley, real cool dude. He liked to go hang out, you know, and party a little bit. And we just had a good time together. And so, you know, we were actually partners for a while. And then he moved back to the States first.
Okay.
Because he found out.
Because when you finish service, you
I
stay
stayed.
there.
Yeah.
For
And he
a
was
couple
there.
years?
I stayed there almost 3-4 more years.
Are you under the First Command umbrella? Or are you and Michael this
Me and
separate
Mike,
entity?
We're working for we have a broker dealer,
Right.
but we're our own little entity. We're
Okay.
just doing our thing.
Putting trades through this broker dealer thing, but
Yeah.
you're the own thing, and you're servicing
All,
your old people and
all military guys.
All
at that
military
point.
guys,
And
okay.
a few guys from the consulate, but mostly military guys and, you know, DOD civilians, Department
Okay.
of Defense civilians.
Yep.
And it was a much easier actually model because there wasn't like Edward Jones and Merrill Lynch and all these
not
guys.
much competition.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
And then when a guy left, because guys rotate every 2-3 years, where you keep that guy and just ask him, introduce me your replacement, introduce me your replacement, introduce me your replacement. And then I was a wrestling coach.
That's sneaky. That's sneaky good, right? Sneaky good.
And I was the wrestling coach from the high school because I'd read some books. You know, a lot of times they view financial advisors as vultures. It's like they just walk into an event, you're like, here he comes asking for money. But I wasn't a financial advisor. I was Coach Charles. I just happened to be a financial advisor.
Yes.
So just, you know, I won't say that's why I coach wrestling. I loved coaching wrestling over there. Still in touch with a large number of kids that I coach who are, God, it's crazy because now I feel old because they're grown up now, you know, like in the military, captains, and I'm like, geez, I
Yeah.
coached this kid wrestling, it's nuts.
I coached some kids in soccer after college, and one of the kids, they're all obviously grown now, and one of the guys is a lead, he's a guitarist for a band called Hardy, a country band called Hardy.
Wow.
And I didn't realize that they were going to be here a few weeks ago, and my wife and I went to Jason Aldean concert. My wife loves Jason Aldean.
Okay.
So we're in there, and we got decent seats, but not great seats, right? And this Hardy comes out, and I recognize the songs, and the music is really good, right? And I'm like, golly. And I see this kid come out, and I'm like, lead guitarist. I was like, look at my wife. I go, hey, I think that's Red. She's like, what? I'm like, that's Red. I'm pretty sure that's Red. I grab my phone. I'm like, oh shit, that's Red. I started texting him. I texted his mom. His mom was like just so far away from me, and I got to see him. And he goes, "Remember I told you a couple months ago I was meeting with some guys and we were writing music and I thought it had like something to do." And he was like, "These are those guys." I was like, "Holy cow!" I mean, it was crazy. He's so talented. But say that kids you're coaching, growing up and being men, it's wild.
Yeah, they're adulty adults too, like big time. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I love it though.
Yeah.
I'm proud of all of them.
So what brings you home?
My kids are here. So, you know, I had kids through, you know, someone that I was with, we had 2 kids.
Got pregnant once, had 2 kids.
Yeah, and we weren't together.
Are you in Germany when this happens?
It happened right before. So I had 90 days of leave. So
Okay.
during that time period, that's when she got pregnant. And
Is that 90 days between 5 years and 2 years?
No, between graduating West Point and going to officer basic
Okay,
course.
I'm trying to get my
Yeah, yeah.
timeline straight. Okay,
So,
okay. You got
then-
90 days before going to officer training. I got you.
So then I went to officer's training. While I'm at officer's training, I get a phone call and she was pregnant, and I was like, uh-oh. So, you know, but I had to go to my assignment. There
Right.
wasn't any, and I just kind of got, you know, we did had good correspondence. I use so you get 2.5 days, I believe it is, a month of leave in the Army. Everybody's like, oh, you must did all this crazy travel. Nope. All of it was 2 weeks of their birthday, 2 weeks of Christmas. I was here. Like, that's what I, that's
So
all
you
I
can
was
save
doing.
that up? Can you can
save
stockpile
it up.
that time? Okay.
Yeah. So I'd be here, like I said, through medias and stuff, stayed with them. Then when I got out of the Army, I was coming back like every other month for 5, 6, because I was going to come back, and then that was when the Depression first hit in 07, 08.
Okay.
And even my grandmother was like, yeah, this isn't a good time to come back. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to find the kind of job you want. So I started my business. But then as about 3-4 years, they're almost 9-10 years old. One time I'm home and one's like, Dad, if you were here, you come to all the games and you wouldn't have to miss anything. Because always a big thing when I had to miss something. And, they I know your dad, we know you're working, and when they said that, I'm just like, gotta go back.
Yeah. When do you come back?
Ooh,
What year is that?
I think, see, now it all starts to blend together.
Yeah.
I think I've been back 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah, I think I've been back 9 years. Yeah, sounds about right.
How did the recession affect you and your business over there?
So this is what happens. When the stock market crashes, everybody gets mad at their advisor. Like,
Of course. It's your fault.
yeah. So actually, it was a great thing for me because I was just starting. Are you mad at your advisor? You mad at your advisor? You mad at your advisor? Come on. Let's change it over. Let me show you what I would have done different. And a lot of that, though, it's setting expectation with your client.
Right.
And, and having, that's why email's a great thing. When I email you, look, man, you said you wanted to be aggressive, and this is what aggressive looks like. Okay, I'm fine with that. Then if a dip does happen, you have that to go back on and be like,
Let me pull this email up.
We talked
Remember
about
this aggressive thing? This is what it looks like on the other side.
especially if they want to go against your recommendation. Then I'll make you sign something. If you want to do what I'm telling you not to do, you have to sign something, because it's not gonna. I can't. It's just a little CYA. I'm sure you know about.
I do.
It is what it is.
I do.
But most clients, it's easy to find that point. I haven't had a lot of trouble with expectation. I think I've literally lost one client because of expectation, and she wanted to be conservative, but then the market did 20% and she did 6%, and she didn't understand why.
Yeah.
So she got mad and left. I was like, your exact words were, "Don't lose any of my money, no matter what."
And I haven't.
Yeah, and I don't know how you think I'm gonna make you 20% and never lose.
Yeah.
So but clients like that, you just gotta let it go. Future problems.
Yes. So when you come back home, let's see that let's say 9 years ago, that would be 2015. No, 2013, 2012, 2013.
12, 13, 12. Let's say 12.
Okay. Are you single then?
I was. So I dated the same girl in Germany for like 9 years, 10
Okay.
years. She had her own business. Her dad was kind of sick. She didn't want to leave, which I understand. And we're cool to this day. Like, if she were to send me like, hey, I need help translating something from into English, does this sound right? I'd totally be like, yeah, that's good. We're cool. No. It sucks to leave a 10-year relationship, but
Yeah.
I put those kids here. They're my responsibility.
Right.
So when they said that they wanted me here,
Yeah. And they can actually articulate and say, hey, this is what.
hey, pops, I want you to come to games. I want you to pick us up on the weekend. We want to hang out. We want to do dad stuff.
Yeah.
Time to go.
So when you come back, what's that first couple weeks like, couple months like? Are you trying to
So I actually went back to my grandmother. One time I've gone home, I went back to my grandmother's house under the agreement, I said, look, I'm going to pay the rent, I'm going to pay all the bills. And she was like, you don't have to do that. I'm already uncomfortable being here. So just let me do that till I decide if I want to live here, do I want to live in Charlotte, which is only 90 minutes away. So I was doing that for a little, did that for a while. I was there about maybe a year. And then I moved out.
place?
Yeah.
Do you get a brick and mortar business here, or are you running your show?
Started out without one.
Okay.
And then I picked up. I got back in.
You're
personal
doing it out of
training.
grandmama's dining room or something, right?
Yeah, but all my meetings were, and that didn't work because even though I said, look, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to close the door, I need to work.
No work.
My mom lives here now. They were coming in now like, hey. I'm just like, so yeah. But then when I moved out, so and it is a restart.
Right.
Because some business is residual, but there's new business brings in the bigger ticket. So it is a restart.
Right.
So
Yeah.
all of a sudden your income is cut in like a half or a third even. So I picked up personal training. I had personal training a few people in Germany, but not nothing. So I started personal training in the mornings just for that extra income and that steady, okay, you have this coming in. Give or take, this is coming while you're building up your financial business. So,
What's your financial situation when you come back and you control alt delete back here? What's your financial situation like? Are you rolling?
I won't say I'm rolling, but I'm good. And there was a point where I was like, I'm not coming back if I don't have at least X number of dollars coming in a month. I got commitments. I have child support to pay. I have
right.
And I'm a financial advisor. I mean, I did my own math, and I'm like, you have to be making this much.
Yeah.
And it's going to take you a while to get established because it's great. I mean, I had lots of bar friends from the times when I would come back visiting, but are those people clients?
Right.
And if they are clients, are they good clients? There's a difference between a client and a good client in any industry. So it's just restarting your business model and figuring out everything that I didn't know about business. Like I said, I didn't have to know how to market in Germany.
Right.
I didn't have any competition. I was the wrestling coach who was a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And I would meet other wrestling coaches who happened to be DOD teachers who make great money, and they were all becoming clients, and they were introducing me to other teachers over there. It was an easy system. Now I get over here, and there's competition everywhere. I tried to go to like all these networking events, like the Commerce Club, it wasn't bad, but there's 500 financial advisors in here. I'm like, okay. And Greenville is very cliquish.
Yeah.
So, hey man, it's so cool you went to Websport. Thanks for serving your country, but I'm gonna work with my buddy that went to Clemson with me.
That's right.
And that's that's Greenville. Actually, the influx of people who aren't from here has helped my business immensely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, immensely.
When do you? When I just recently figured out how to make my finances work for me. Mm-hmm. I'm a late bloomer, as I might say. When did you get a hold of it for yourself? When do you figure that out?
I still don't know if I got a hold of it, man. It depends on what you mean by that. I mean, I'm putting up money in the retirement accounts, but like I'm also trying to start businesses. So, that's one thing. Even now, I'm still tweaking my business model as a financial advisor. How do you work with business owners? Because I never like to charge a fee. Right. I'd rather just, okay, you invest this with me. I get my percentage for managing. That's cool, and I felt like that helps me keep clients long term. Yeah. Business owners invest their money back into their business. So how do you work with them? Because I can provide them huge amounts of value, especially having done this 3 or 4 times on my own. Like I can provide you a lot of value, not just in investing your money, but making sure your insurance is set up properly, making sure even looking at your cash flows on your business and doing small business cash flow consulting. Like you can do all that stuff, but you're gonna have to charge for it. So I'm even working on how can you make yourself a line item that they pay monthly or quarterly that, and you provide X, Y, and Z for them, because eventually they're going to sell that business. That's kind of the big thing with owning a business is your business is your biggest asset.
Yep. So I saw something on, I think maybe one of Teddy's interviews with you. There was you said something about, you said this also, it's a poor number, but it was your 9/11 moment. I think it was about you. I think you were in Miami or somewhere with some buddies, and you bought a bunch of stuff.
My goodness. Well, one thing now, I'm starting to work with a lot of younger guys and I got a young buddy he's graduating college now. I trained him, and he works out with my kids a lot, and we're talking about doing a podcast called "Don't F This Up." Consider it. Because it's like all this stuff that I wish I would have known when I was his age. He's a super bright kid. 22 years old, super bright, futures. He's already doing stuff that I figured out last year, and I'm just like, where'd you come from? You're like, are you an alien? I don't really know.
Yeah.
But dude, And I tell this story to everybody. I spent $911 shopping. But I bought this pair of leather pants, and I think they were like, if I remember right, they're like $600. I wore them once and I tore them. You know, I'm out trying to party, I'm sweating, I'm moving around. Leather don't move like that. I stepped out, didn't even tear on the seam. And it literally was a moment I was like, you just wasted $600. Now, and I do dumb stuff to myself just to see it. I put $600 at a, X% return from 20 years ago, and I'm just like,
I saw you talking about that. There's so many things in my life that you've done,
Yeah.
Golly.
But
and
it's
when were you in? When was that? When's that?
Oh man, I know. I can even
when
tell
are
you.
you making those stupid decisions?
I can tell you who I was with. Oh, I was in officer basic course. So I was 21 when I did that.
Nice.
But you go. That's
You got a credit card.
Yeah.
You're like, I got to do something with this
Not even
thing.
a credit card. You start getting officer pay. So you've been in college, and now all of a sudden you're getting. It's probably the equivalent of $7,000-8,000 a month because they pay for your housing, they pay for your food, they pay for your health insurance, and then they pay for all that, and they put $5,000-6,000 a month in your account. If you want to, you can eat on base for free. So that's, to us at that point, that's party money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's party money all
course.
day. Not understanding what it could have been if we would have just.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't have a good story. You just have a nice nest egg. You wouldn't have a good story about torn leather pants at some club in Germany.
Well, I
Or
always
probably
talk
not
about.
Germany,
No,
but-
that was in Texas.
Texas.
But I always talk about that though if I do seminars, especially if I do like church seminars and things. I talk about how like if I would have done everything perfect, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be sitting if I would have put all my money into Apple when I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be sitting on an island partying and not helping anyone.
No, yes, true.
So there's a reason, I don't know, there's a reason that things go the way they go. And I don't think any of that's a knock if you learn from it.
Yep.
But if you keep repeating it, so be it. But I don't think it's a knock if you learn.
So you're starting this, you come home, you get this business rolling. When do you get a brick and mortar place?
Okay, so I actually didn't get a brick and mortar until, so maybe 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
So it took a couple years and I said, okay,
Yeah.
about 5 years ago, I said I'm gonna need an office. My business was growing, but it was mostly friend-based, and I asked a couple friends, I was like, would you refer me more people if I actually had an office? Because there's trust, it's money. You don't know where I am. I'm working out of my house. Well, I can leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, that type of stuff. And a couple of them that I trust their opinion, like, you need to get an office. And I was still personal training. That was going well. So I still had that steady income. Business was growing. I was starting to get around.
So at that point in
Greenville.
time, you're kind of a, I think, probably still to this day, you're probably a jack of all trades. But at that moment in time, you're really making money in 2 or 3 different.
I wouldn't even say I'm a jack of all trades. I'm a financial advisor.
Yes.
And
At that moment in time, though, you're a financial advisor and personal training.
that's 5 in the morning till 9 o'clock. And then I'm at my desk ready to rock and roll.
At that point in time, are you doing that for some walking around money? What's your thought
I
process?
used to call that kids money. That was child support, football pads, whatever they needed.
Yeah.
And without putting a huge dent into my income. And I said, well, I'll let it go when they graduate, and then I decided to have another kid. So,
Yeah. When did you meet your?
Well, I dated my high school ex for about a year, but she passed away from breast cancer.
Oh wow.
So, and then then I was probably buck wild for about a year and a half, and then I met my current girl, and we've been together about 6 years.
Okay. And you have a 20-month-old.
Might be, she gonna get mad at me. He might be, I start losing it with the months, man. He might be 21 months at this point.
When was he
March
born?
5th.
March 5th of 2020.
Yeah, right before COVID, which is super weird.
I have I don't know how many months, but my second son was born in July of 2020.
Okay. So you know were they letting y'all in the hospital or how'd that go?
It was the greatest childbirth experience because there was no visitors.
Yeah.
We just in there for my wife takes forever to have a baby, so we were in there for like 2 or 3 days, no visitors, and everybody waiting on us, or not me, but getting popsicles. My wife's getting popsicles, and nobody could come and say hey and bug us.
I think we were allowed to have. They started limiting the number of visitors at a time.
I mean, the shit's hitting the fan pretty strong right when you're in there having the baby.
We were 2 weeks before they stopped allowing visitors. We were 2 weeks, so we lucked out. Her parents could come, my grandma, mama, my kids, my brothers could come. So they all came in, and so we lucked out right before that.
Yep.
It was another great experience, another great little dude. So it all works together.
What's it like? Like this, I guess it's substantially different because you're right here with them. What's your mind like now with the baby versus when your 2 boys were born?
It's not a different mindset. So I was in airborne school when my twins were born, and they literally told me, because I think it was something like we weren't married, so I couldn't leave to go, and we're only 3 hours away, and I'm like, if you leave, you're gonna have to start school over, you're gonna miss this out. I'm like, all right. So my grandma went though. My grandma said, baby, you can get a test or whatever you want, but they yours. She had the baby picture. She's like, no, baby, they yours. I promise.
They came out with nice hats on and everything.
I think he got some gators on his feet. That's yours. So.
Oh man, that's tripping me out.
Yeah, man, just moving. Then I, kept. So I definitely use a rich dad, poor dad mindset.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about entrepreneurial stuff, my thing is financial advising. So I constantly try to improve in that space, learn more in that space, do better in that space for my clients, acquire more clients. But even refining that business model, so maybe eventually I can bring on other advisors.
Right.
Maybe considering. But what I did was so I used that money. So I said, okay, I'm making this money, but that takes effort. It's so, I've got my little science down. It's X number of hours per client, unless I refine another system. I got my methodology down. But okay, I need something that makes money without me being there.
Mailbox money.
Yeah, and that, and then the gym I was training at was closing. And one of my good buddies was like, hey man, look, I need to train, I want to open a gym. And I was like, we can open a gym. It can't be that hard.
Yep.
Yeah, that was wrong. So
that was tough.
Found a space. We opened. I think we literally opened a gym in 5 weeks because the place we're at was closing.
Yeah.
Opened a gym in 5 weeks. But I kind of knew, not to that extent, but I knew, okay, at this point, financial advising you just have to maintain.
Right.
Don't go out try to grow the business. Just keep what you got. Get this running.
So that's where your brain makes that transition. You're like, okay, I'm making this kid's money. I called it walking around money. You're making this money, and you're like, how can I make this money without me actually having to be there at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning? Yeah. And then that gym starts to close. You and a buddy think, let's open this. What's that whole process like when you decide? You said it was tough. What made it tough?
It was tough when we opened. Like doing it, so
getting ready to open.
Getting ready to open was physically tough.
Okay.
We're upstairs with no elevator, so everything upstairs has to be carried. I'll just say that, and I will never do that again myself. I'm too old. I think I didn't work out for 2 weeks after that. I mean, we were beat up. Like it was. Yeah. It was rough.
It was like sore in places you've never been sore before.
I didn't know I had a dwibita or whatever that is. It was awkward, man. So, but then when you open the door, you start finding out all this crap that you had no clue about. Billing, security systems, even the rotation. Are you going to hire somebody when you first open to clean the gym, or are you going to clean? All this little stuff that seems menial, accounting. You're like,
and you hadn't encountered that at all with the financial planning stuff, because it's just you and...
Me and my computer.
Yeah.
Literally all I need. So now you got all this stuff, depreciation on equipment, how are you going to do it? All this stuff happens, and especially the day-to-day operational stuff, you got to figure that out. Like, we're trying to be a passcode gym, and then of course stuff goes wrong. Like we're supposed to have the lock, which you began to give out passcodes. The lock wasn't there, so now somebody has to sit there. It's just stuff like that, you know. And then it's just little basic stuff. And easy lessons learned though.
And stuff that you never known until you got thrown into quicksand.
Oh, I can run in the gym. Oh, I can run a gym.
Yeah, I see what they're doing. It's fine.
Yeah. Have you ever run a gym? Do you know how to deal with that?
And your buddy had no experience in that either, huh?
Trainer just like me.
Just trainers like you.
Yeah, trainer. You know, he was training full time at that point. I was training part time, and you know, I felt like I had good business savvy, but I was doing cash flows for other people, like doing cash flow analysis, like this is bad, you should do this, change this. But I was never in the weeds operating those businesses.
Right.
And then you do it.
It's a completely different ball game.
And I definitely realized though, financial advisory growth was going to slow down. I was expecting, I'll be good in a couple weeks. It was a few months.
When was this? What year is this in?
2017.
2017, okay. When, I'm just imagining you carrying all these weights upstairs and going up and like opening the place. And I made these kind of mistakes too, where you're thinking, I'm a smart guy. I can do some of this stuff like accounting or depreciation or anything like that. And then you're like, but I need to be doing this other stuff. Now I got to figure out now I got to take time out of the middle of the business to do nothing but find somebody to do this.
Yeah. Either you're gonna learn it, or you got to find somebody to do it.
Yeah.
You know, where's your efficiency points at? You know, where are you going to make those good decisions? And all of that though correlated into like, so now I'm opening my other recovery studio.
Well, at the gym, how much time are you spending in that place?
Oh, I'm working in there. Like I'm working.
How many employees y'all got? You and your buddy?
We don't have any employees.
No employees.
And we still don't. But
now you got the passcode working, kinda.
Cameras, passcode,
okay.
It's smooth. But we did it, you know, the method too is employees, man. People don't, if you take care of people, they will actually take care of you. So we have like 13 personal trainers, and none of them work for me, but they all do stuff. They'll clean up, they'll wipe that down, they'll wash the towels. They help because.
How did you figure that out?
I knew that's not what I wanted when I was a personal trainer. I didn't want to work for like a big box gym and it's $75 a session, but you get 20.
15.
Yeah, 15, 20. I know the place I was working at before charged $500 a month. You know, standardly, if you do percentages on, I think when I moved back, it was $3,500 was median standard of living in Greenville. Well, you're gonna pay $500 of that to. I was like, that burns a little bit.
Yep.
So I just knew what.
How long do you and your buddy put in a whole bunch of hours at that place until it kind of?
Probably about 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah. I mean, it's because we were still open 4 a.m. to 10 p.m.
4 a.m.
So somebody had to be in there. Near him had to be in there. Dude, I had a lot of good friends. Like, I'd like, look, man, I need to take a lunch meeting. And they'd be free in the middle of the day, and they'd come sit at the desk and be like, hey, man, I'll sit at the desk for an hour or two, man. It's cool. No, people helped me out, so it wasn't.
That's stuff that you wouldn't know about either when you first start thinking about it, right? You're not thinking about.
Don't be scared to ask for help. That's you know that the hustle boys have lied to you for years. I'll tell anybody that, man. From everything from you gotta work to grind and don't sleep. No, you gotta recover. Grind till you die thing is, but you're operating at 50-60% of capacity. Go rest and come back and operate at 100% or 90%. That is the most ridiculous thought process.
And hire somebody to do your depreciation stuff and all that other stuff on the back.
Get that off your plate and do what makes you money.
Yeah.
You know, if I can make $80 for an hour for a personal training session, why am I cleaning the building? It's not that that's below me, but I can pay someone else $30 an hour.
That's really hard to, when you're in the weeds though, and the wall needs to be cleaned. That goes back to that depreciation thing. When the wall needs to be cleaned, it's hard to think, okay, I need to find somebody to clean this stuff, take out the trash, that, you know, a service that can do this for me. I'll clean this wall now, next time I'm not going to clean it. But what happens to a lot of people is they clean the wall now, forget about it, and all of a sudden they got to clean it again.
Well, see, like when I lived alone, I did 75% of my meals were from a meal prep company. Somebody cleaned my house, someone did my laundry, and everybody's like, oh man, you up? And I'm like, no, like I'm alone and all that is time. I can go do even if it's just personal training, I can go do a $60 session. I can go do 2 or 3 $6 sessions and pay for all that. So that's 3 hours to do stuff that would have taken me 15 hours. That doesn't make sense. It actually doesn't make sense for me to do it. At that point, it's illogical.
Yes.
And that's, a lot of people have a hard time getting through that.
If you're using those 3
if you're doing it.
Right.
But even sometimes though, like I said, I'll go back to this. Sometimes
Recharge.
your recharge is worth
Yeah.
it. It's 100% worth it. And that's something, actually, I've only really grasped that in the past 2-3 years. That rest, that recharge is necessary.
It doesn't matter when you're 22.
Nah, but it does. Because
You just don't think it does.
well, you don't know what 100% is anymore. You think, it's just like athletes.
That's
I read
true.
a great book by, I'm sure like some guy, Tim Grover. It's called Winning. So he was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's personal trainer. But one thing he talks about is he had to make Kobe stop. He had to make him. Like Kobe's like, I want to do this 4 a.m. workout. He said, okay, but you're going to take a nap from X to, you're going to do that. Because he recognized the power in recovery and being at 100%. Everybody's like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm hustling. But you're hustling at 60%. You probably don't even know what 80, 90% feels like anymore because you haven't been there in so long.
Yeah.
And it gets away from you. You don't know. You think just because you're hustling doesn't mean you're productive. They're not the same thing.
Yeah. I spent a lot of my life, a lot of my adult life, making a shit ton of bad decisions, partying my face off. And it wasn't until we got up here and you start recognizing what 90% or 95% of you looks like, right? And you think, my wife and I talk about this all the time, like, how did we survive at 40% or 50% or 60%, like, right? Like, and that goes almost to that, like, spending the money you're not supposed to spend a long time ago, right? Like, what could have been
If we would, but
if
that's
you captured that, right?
part of
Like,
living, man.
Yeah.
And one of my main things that I want to do is guys that are in their 20s. I mean, if you look at most of the guys I hang out with are in their late 20s. That are friends with me. But, you know, I just try to give them every inkling of knowledge that and I wouldn't even say it's knowledge, it's experience. It's like, I know this
that
is
they'll
true.
take, that they'll accept.
Yeah, and I think they accept it from me because I'm still doing stuff. I'm still growing. I'm still making moves. I'm still trying to do
Yeah.
more. I've got, you know, like one of them, when he's 26, I'd explain to him, like, you realize you're closer to your kid's age than you are to mine. You're 8 years older than my kids. I'm 14, 15 years older than you. And he was like, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, so, I mean, I've been doing stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it be the right stuff or the wrong stuff, I've been doing stuff for a long time. But anything can be the right thing if you learn something from that experience. And that's the thing, you know, you have to go into every situation willing to accept the fact that anything you've ever been told could be wrong.
Or everything you've ever done could be wrong.
Could be 100% wrong.
So tell me about the recovery gym. Like, what it?
So I partner with my massage therapist. So as you get older, you recognize the need for recovery, taking care of your body. You want to work out all the time, you know, stuff's going to get off. And so me and my massage therapist partnered, bought a building. I'm real big on if you're going to have a business and you need a space, trying to look for a way to buy a building or a part of a building, buy it with other people, things like that. So we bought a building. I moved my office under the top floor.
Okay.
And so we have a recovery studio. You know, it's got cryo, automated massage tables, Normatec systems, and we have thing I'm really excited about is like I'd call it a theta rest system or rest system. You know, it's just these bioengineered sounds and a bioengineered disc that you wear on your wrist, and you literally come in there. We put a weighted blanket over you. You just lay down and let it play, and it basically it's recovery. It's recovery.
When you open this place, is it smooth?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be smooth. It's
No, I mean, is it open now? Or are y'all still?
we're open. We're open, but we're not like really publicizing
Okay,
it.
okay,
Because I
okay.
like letting people trickle in right now.
Okay.
Because then you can work those bugs.
I was trying to figure out.
No.
If this was going to be the same or similar kind of.
It has some similar feel, but I'm ready for it.
Right.
So me and my partner, we, you know, and I did more planning for this one. So we have X. So between him and me, we'll see the schedule in the morning. Who wants to come in? We're gonna have to take care of it.
Okay.
You know, either he's gonna have to pop out of his session, or I'm gonna have to run down the stairs until we hit X. And I don't ever take more than 2 meetings a day. So for me to be able to run downstairs and do something, it's fine.
Okay.
For now, when we hit X, we'll hire an employee. You know, and then when we hit the next point,
Okay.
after that, we can start taking some profit or, you know, investing more into the business, whichever thing we deem to be correct at that point. But I'm planning much better, know what to expect, have some people who want to work there eventually online to just help. They're like,
Yeah.
well, if you're telling me that there's going to be a place here for me, of course I'll help.
Yep.
So
How's the gym now?
the gym runs great, man.
Yeah.
The gym funded that for me.
Say that again?
The gym funded that.
Okay.
Well, my
Gotcha, yeah,
income from the gym
yeah.
funded that. So, you know, and I'm not about being stagnant. I want to grow. I'm a big legacy guy. I want stuff for my kids, but I also want to teach them. You know, because it only takes, I see it all the time, it takes one person to mess up a legacy. You leave all your money to this person and they're a fool and it's gone. So it's about building the lead, but then also teaching, making sure they're ready for that, and then also that they're going to impart what I'm teaching them, you know, into their kids. So
Right.
so it gets better, and you know, and then you also have to include giving and things like that. It's not just, oh, we're gonna be 5 generations from now, we're gonna own half America. No, it's not about that.
Right.
You know, let's live well, work hard, live well, and help the universe out a little bit, you know.